NFL expects increased enforcement of controversial helmet rule introduced last season. One of the biggest stories of the NFL last preseason was the new helmet rule. According to Atlanta Falcons president and chairman of the NFL's competition committee Rich McKay, we can expect to see more enforcement of the rule this season. On paper, the league outlawed players from lowering their helmets to initiate contact, a good rule in theory in the interest of player safety. It is a foul if a player lowers his head to initiate and make contact with his helmet against an opponent, the rule reads. In practice, the rule was a source of ridicule and largely abandoned by the time the regular season started. That the rule will be enforced this season. I think during the 2018 season there's no question that you saw many more fines and warning letters than you did flags, McKay told Deadspin.com Cosentino. I think this year the rule caused confusion for players and coaches, drawing pushback before the first preseason game and prompting the NFL clarifying what does and does not constitute a legal tackle in regard to using the helmet. It's ridiculous, San Francisco 49ers cornerback Richard Sherman all year. They'll see how ridiculous. Sherman was prescient. Implemented during the preseason opening Hall of Fame game, the rule saw 3 potentially game-changing flags thrown on what had previously been routine football plays. The rule carries with it a 15-yard penalty, an automatic first down, and can lead to player ejection at the official's discretion. Officials continued to flag players for helmet rule violations throughout the preseason, from the very players the rule intends to protect. So here's a play that my 49ers client Raheem Mostert got an unnecessary roughness penalty on last night for leading with his head. Is this really the way? Make football violent again was the phrase emblazoned on a hat worn by Minnesota Vikings safety Andrew Sendejo. Andrew Sendejo, possibly sending a message to the NFL with his hat, said he has been wearing. The confusion over what does and does not constitute a helmet rule violation prompted the NFL to send out a video clarifying the rule. The video, featuring wide-angle shots used for coaching film accompanied with little explanation, only created more confusion. The use of helmet rule is designed to protect players from unnecessary risk. It's illegal to lower. After officials threw 55 flags for the penalty in the first 33 preseason games, pressure mounted on the NFL to address the rule. The competition committee stood firm and vowed that there would be no change to the rule for the regular season. The committee reviewed feedback to date from players, coaches and game officials, a statement tab. The committee resolved, but once the regular season started, the helmet rule was largely an afterthought. After a rate, it remained a rarity for the remainder of the season. Even though the league, McKay told Deadspin that a year for players and officials to digest the rule will lead to a better understanding and more consistent enforcement this season. I think the message to our players has likewise had a year to get through, McKay said. So I think we're at the Hall of Fame game between the Atlanta Falcons and Denver Broncos will kick off the NFL preseason next Thursday. That will be the first, but until the league starts penalizing the rule with consistency in the regular season games, enforcement remains a believe it when we see it situation. More from Yahoo Sports.
Raindrop, drip, drop top, top smoke.